All right, hello everybody. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out as always. So I got another video for us here today. We're going to take a look at a pre-recorded game that I played against a new Alluring Desire. Going to talk through the lines, sort of like short form gameplay. Hopefully learn something from it myself as well. And this matchup is extremely difficult to navigate. New is a very, very scary hero. I'm just clicking on my new preset, but the idea here, New is often on CYB, so we're going to play Reaping Blade. We're probably going to play Tunic because it ends up being a grindier game. And then I think we kind of lean aggressive, if I remember correctly. So Reaping Blade, Tunic, and yeah, so we have the only defensive piece we have in the list. Well, really, really important first and foremost. With New, you need to side out the Scary Blues, which means the Widespread Annihilations, and probably the Deathly Whales if you're playing any number of Deathly Whales on blue. Those need to come out against New as well. That one you can kind of make the judgment call, but like a free 0 for 4 that makes Rune Chance is pretty bad to get swung back at you. Regardless, I think you just take out Widespread Annihilation. So it's fairly easy sideboard because you pull out those blues and then you put in everything else other than a couple of the defensive pieces because we need to try and push damage in this matchup. So that's where we're at. It is not the easiest matchup to navigate, or very, very skilled. A new pilot is pretty favored in this matchup, if I'm being completely honest. Hard to navigate CYB, trying to keep our life totals a little bit lower. It's sort of like a mini game that we get to play when we're up against a CYB deck. So we'll see how this kind of shakes out. I don't remember again. Been a little while since I recorded this. So our opening hand is pretty good for setup. Banish Deathly Whale. I think that's kind of all we're doing. I do miss Grasp in these opening turns sometimes. Pitching Machinations to Grasp would be awesome for setup. But Vexing Quillhead is just too important of a resource, yeah. To unstick us, allow us to play a card or have a turn when we don't quite have a turn. So yeah, all we're gonna do is banish Deathly Whale and sit on this Shadow Puppetry again. This is Shadow Puppetry is Deathly Whale's best friend. Sit on that in Arsenal. This Revel would have been a fine Arsenal target as well. Our next turn, unfortunately, we have a call. We were able to fall to a lower life total, so that kind of gives us a little bit of a saving grace. They obviously didn't have a CYB on turn 0. Otherwise, they would have played it out while we were at life parity. Beckoning Misplay is a card that I don't typically respect. We could discard a Haunting Rendition to prevent it, but otherwise, I don't think we want to be blocking it. Nuking our Shadow Puppetry hurts us quite bad, so Cull is our only banished target here, but I am still deciding to give the Cull and the Machinations for a clean block. I don't hate this, banish Machinations, we still get to Shadow Puppetry Whale. No, we're only on 2 Rune Chance, so that's awkward. Maybe I didn't realize we were only on 2 Rune Chance. So we're just doing some more setup here. Which is not terrible into CYB. We do need to do some level of setup. So I'm choosing to banish this Revel and Runeblood. I'm wondering in hindsight if the Revel and Runeblood would have been a better banished target on turn 0. I don't know. But then Malefic is a better setup piece here since we can't do anything with this read. So then we're just going to continue to set up and stay at a lower life total, which is also important in this matchup. So I don't hate that decision. Excuse me. So now Beckoning Mistblade once again, they have to pitch a count. So this is why Reaping Blade is such an interesting piece into CYB decks. And if we navigate it correctly and are able to reliably stay at a lower life total without really putting ourselves in danger, look at what they pitched. They pitched a Shelter from the Storm, so they're not getting value off of that defensive piece, and a Count Your Blessings. They overpitched for a Beckoning Mistblade. That's pretty good value for us. So we let this hit. So this is what happens, and this is what we need to make their turns awkward by the way we navigate this. So Art of Desire, Mind. Looking at this hand, we're going to banish this Widespread Destruction. We're going to go Shadow Puppetry. We could go too wide. Shadow Puppetry Whale with a big destruction. Like, this is a pretty scary turn. Cull's also a good piece in this. Mauve Skies is one. Like, I feel like we just let this hit. We don't really need this Mauve Skies. But I kind of like, if the goal is to push a big damage, like an offensive Cull, yeah, so we're just going to let this hit. If they banish us something cool, all the better. So they banished us an Eloquent Eulogy, so that's just more gas for us. So we actually go 3 wide? No. Yeah. We can go 3 wide. The sky is the limit. So we can go 3 wide on our next turn if we want to. Without really... We don't even need creepers to go 3 wide on our next turn. We just need to go Shadow, Puppetry, Whale. No. No. Because we need chance to follow up the widespread destruction, which requires us to break chain. Like, we'd have to break Vexing to go 3 wide. I don't think we have an easy 3 wide turn, unless they don't respect Mauve Skies. But either way, Double Trouble. So, 2 or more attack reactions, but they can do with Alluring Wave alone. Banish the top 2 cards of their deck. I don't know if I care. I wonder if this is a block or not. I could go either way on this. I am choosing to block it out. Cull... Yeah, I think Cull's a good choice here. Cull would be played offensively anyways. They are going to make this hit. So maybe I shouldn't have respected this. I don't know if the block... Because I knew they were going to get... Even just with Alluring Wave, this goes up +3, +1 to 4. And it hits anyways. So I feel like maybe I just keep the Cull. Because Cull might be more impactful in hand to strip cards. And then they get like 2... Yeah, and they banish it. Oh, yeah, sorry. Cull's a free block. I keep forgetting. Like, that's another thing we need to, like, constantly reflect on, and I need to remind myself constantly when I'm playing against new is whatever, any stealth card that we're putting cards in front of, it's going to go to our banish zone. So, like, blocking with Cull is just free. So I actually didn't... I like that, because we still get to play it defensively, or offensively. So that was fine. It does suck that it hit and didn't really give us any gas. We have a decent amount of gas here. We're going to go Puppetry, Whale, Close Chain, maybe Beseech, Widespread. Yeah. I like it. I like it. And then like Mauve Skies Widespread. Depending on if they overextend on this first attack, that's really good for us. Because then they're probably not going to be able to respect the Mauve Skies, and we'll end on Eloquent Eulogy, and we can also strip a card from them. So this is sort of like, it's similar to the Guardian matchup in a way. By the way, I probably released that video already, but did like a challenge where I played as many Guardians as I could on Talishar, because it is a tough matchup, but any control matchup like this as well, like new is sort of like in that category. We just have to play very differently. It's not just about like eking out value where we can. It's about like making opportunity for us to go super tall or super wide. So that's essentially what we're doing here. So 7 go again. They let it hit. We see an Enveloped in Darkness off top. We want to keep that there. We are going to break the chain. We're going to go Beseech the Demagon. Mauve Skies Beseech, doesn't matter which one. And now, it's unfortunate that they chose not to block, because they are just going to respect this now. So it's going to come in for 3 and 9. Don't need to take another damage. 3 and 9. We'll see what they do with the Rune Chance. I think we probably call before we go to blocks, because we want to give this every opportunity. Like, if they're smart, they're going to let the Rune Chance through. Yeah. So let the Rune Chance through. I think we call anyways. We don't. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter if we call before or after. They're still just going to give us the exact same card. And it's face up. They see it coming. So it is a count your blessings that they can't play. So that's fine. We get a count your blessings banished, which is great. We can Tunic Reaping Blade here, I think is the call. Probably break chain. I think we should have broken chain there just to make sure that this gets nuked. It's not a defensive piece, but I guess the thinking is if it was a defensive piece, they would have played it anyways. It's kind of good that we have an Eloquent Eulogy banked in Arsenal because this hand doesn't do much. So we don't have Tunic for Envelop in Darkness. Envelop in Darkness might be a good Arsenal target is what I'm thinking here. So I feel like we just banish Machinations. Unless we want to do something like banish Haunting Rendition, we could then Machinations, Eloquent Eulogy, Machinations, Envelop in Darkness, pitching Succumb to Temptation, Eloquent Eulogy, end on Reaping Blade. That's probably like maximum damage output for this turn, for this hand. It'd be interesting to see what we decide to do here. So banish Haunting Rendition, Machinations. Are we going to pitch the Succumb for... No. So... Or maybe I'm just thinking, like, I don't really care about a tall Eloquent Eulogy. I want to sit on the Envelop in Darkness in Arsenal as a safety net. I don't hate that. So now we're going 1 and 4, threatening Succumb. But then we don't have pitch for Reaping Blade. Yeah, maybe 1 and 4 threatening Succumb is good enough. So they're pitching a Count Your Blessings. Although they could have played it now. They're at a lower life total. So 4 threatening Succumb. This leaves options open for us. I don't hate it. But they did block the... So do we pitch the Succumb to Reaping Blade? Looks like we do. So yeah, I guess the decision I made here, we could have played out the Envelop in Darkness on the Eloquent Eulogy and pushed more damage. But I think I'm favoring it in Arsenal since we're about to go 0 rune chance. And this will be like break in case of emergency, sort of like safety net, to allow me to at least start on 2 rune chance during our next turn. So in Arsenal. And it's probably going to sit in Arsenal now with this hand, because I'll wait till Tunic gets to 3 to play it out and get full value. Because on our next turn, we can still give up this Phantom Wraith and just go Beseech, Dirge, Widespread Destruction, which is pretty scary. So I think we give up the Phantom Wraith here. Erase Face doesn't do all that much against Vynnset. Like, it shuts off her second ability, so we won't have opportunity to take the damage on Beseech, but that's fine. We don't want to take the damage on Beseech because Envelop in Darkness is in our arsenal and we don't want to banish that. So I think we just give up Phantom Wraith here and move on with our lives. They could pummel, but I don't think they really run pummel, do they? Does New run pummel? I don't know. They don't have it either way. They could CYB here as well. Moving to N, though. Sitting on Arsenal. Their CYBs didn't seem to line up, or it seemed to line up favorably for us. So yeah, banish Widespread Destruction, play Dirge to make 3 chance, Beseech the Demagon, end turn. Right. Interesting. So, I don't know about this decision. So I'm choosing end turn because I just want to build up. Like, the idea into a control deck is like bank damage for future turn, but now I'm not getting value in this hand with the Beseech. I think I kind of like the 3 and 9 here. I know they can just prevent it all. I don't know. Questionable decision. We'll see if it bites us a little bit moving forward, but yeah, I could have just presented Beseech, Widespread Destruction, but maybe I have a hunch that they have a they put a defensive card in Arsenal. If it's not CYB, maybe is what I'm thinking. So then they would just like soak it up, and then we didn't really gain anything from that. So I do agree that in a control matchup like this, we do need to set up big turns to push over their wall. So they're sending Misplayed. We'll keep an eye on what type of turn they have here. So they had a Prognosis. They have a Leave No Witnesses, which is threatening our Envelop in Darkness and Arsenal, which is pretty unfortunate. But we have a Superfluous RuneGate card. So I think, yeah, we're happy to give this Widespread Destruction up. We're going to have to give up an equipment piece here. So maybe we're not going to get full value on Face Purg, is what I'm thinking. I don't think... Yeah, call is fine. is fine to give up here. So they hiss it to 7. That hurts us. So maybe the call was face perg. I don't know if this prevents this. So we got punished there pretty hard for taking a turn off. And maybe I got greedy. Maybe we should have thrown face perg here and got an 8 block. Strip a card from their hand. That might have been enough to shut this down. So yeah, they get my Envelop in Darkness, which is like 4 value from my arsenal. I'm not super happy about. So I think we're getting punished for taking that turn off here. So now we're just going to have to eat this Erase Face. Go down to 19. And we're not really in a better position than we were before. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, so I think sending the widespread for 3 and 9 on that last turn was probably the play. And then second mistake there was not giving Face Purgatory up there. I think that was like kind of a prime Face Purg target. Draw a card could have helped us. Protects our arsenal, maybe. I guess... What was that last card in their hand? Did we know? Because they don't have arsenal. Oh, it was the Erase Face. And a Sink below? Let's see. Yeah, so they have an Erase Face in arsenal and a Sink below in hand. So if I give Face Purg, it not only blocks that thing and allows them to not strip Envelop in Darkness, but it also shuts down the rest of their turn. So Face Purg would have represented 4 more value from arsenal that we didn't lose, an extra card in hand, and their Erase Face. So that was definitely a Face Purg block, and I did not do a good job identifying that. I saw it after the fact, but too late. So that's something we have to be keeping an eye out for as well. But again, it comes with reps, right? Knowing what new might have up their sleeve, knowing that that attack was probably going to get buffed by 7, so blocking 6 is not really going to get us anywhere. So, yeah, and now we're sad they don't even have an arsenal that we can threaten. So Widespread Destruction, again, would have threatened if we swung the Widespread Destruction in the first place. I guess we wouldn't have had any Unpreventable, so they could have saved their Erase Face, but they would have had to give us like 3 cards from hand. So, yep, 2 blunders there, which would have kept us in a better... put us in a better position here for sure. I think what I'm reflecting on is like, again, is it enough to just send, because we're in a Erase Face, so Beseech doesn't do anything. So is it enough to just send 4 and 9? Or do I just play the waiting game and set up some more? And that's what I'm deciding to do. So I'm going to 17, which doesn't shut off their CYB though. So I don't really love that decision. I agree with it in principle because like we do need to set up for a big turn here. And taking this misplay does turn their CYB off. However, if they had CYB, they would have just opened with it while we were at life parity. So this is an opportunity here. I could have discarded the Haunting Rendition to prevent this, but I don't know that I really care about Misplayed. I don't know if they get that much value off of Misplayed that much. In this case, they will. Levels of Enlightenment will get +1 and go again from Misplayed. So looking at this hand, just reflecting for a minute, we have Beseech the Demagon in Arsenal. Tunic is online. I think the next turn is a Creeper's play no matter what. We're happy to give up the Haunting Rendition in one way or the other. I don't think we need the Rune Chant, so it's probably just going to be a block 3 or a block 4. Deadwood Dirge represents 2 Rune Chants, so we can block with it if at all necessary. Looking for scrap, that's fine. We don't really care about that. They pitched a CYB, so I think they're misplaying a little bit on their end as well, because they should have... Unless I'm completely off, they should have opened with CYB, right? While we were at life parity and gained that life. However, maybe they're just thinking, like, I'm going to, like, set up for late game, bottom them all, and then, like, gain all my life late game if this game is grinding out. That's probably what they're thinking, because, like, right now that red CYB is not... doesn't give them that much value since they haven't played any other CYBs. So, again, Power of Reaping Blade, I think it's definitely worth running for these CYB decks. So we just gave them the 4 block to cover up looking for a scrap. We're going to banish this Deathly Whale. We're going to... we can't... unless we're breaking Vexing. Are we breaking... No, that's fine. Yeah. So we're going to Beseech, Vynnset, trigger, take, play out the Whale, close Chain on Whale to end on Rune Chance, Creepers in the Deadwood Dirge, and then come in with like our Widespread Ruin or Widespread Destruction probably to threaten their arsenal. So 5 and 8 plus 4 and 6. 23. Pretty good amount of damage. They are going to become at a lower life total, but again, they haven't been able to reliably play their CYBs yet. And so they're not getting full value from CYB. They're trying to pitch stack them, and they're trying to grind this game out, is what I'm kind of getting from their sort of like decisions so far. Pitching a Levels of Enlightenment to suck up 3 damage. They had to take the 1 Unpreventable. 1 more Rune Chant. I don't know how they want to deal with that, or if they're just going to take it for now, probably. Or are they going to pitch for it? I'm looking at Mask of Recurring Nightmares here, and it doesn't actually matter, because if they mask us, we can Creepers in response. Deadwood Dirge. This probably looks like a mask block on their end. It's not, so that's fine. We can let this resolve. They shelter. They take 1 more. They did pitch another Counter Blessing, so they are pitch stacking their counter Blessings. So we make 2 Rune Chants. We Tunic, Creepers, Deadwood Dirge, 1 of them, and we're coming in for another 10 damage. I guess, like, we're favoring the Destruction even though they don't have Arsenal anymore. It was a shelter. We're favoring this because it's harder to get out. So Widespread Ruin, it's easier for us to get to 2 Rune Chants rather than 3. So even though this is not threatening Arsenal, I'm choosing to clear this from my Banish Zone. So now they're at 5, which puts us in a good position. We probably have to do some setup here. We can swing with 2 and 9, but we have to again ask ourselves the question of whether it's enough. They have no CYBs, so they're not gaining a significant amount from CYB. We're choosing to just end the turn. We have a good defensive card that we're going to keep in hand. We have an Envelop in Darkness that we're happy to play on our next turn. Creepers does explode, which is not amazing, but Succumb to Temptation, we're lucky enough to draw into that to give us another turn. So, to extend our turn, I should say. So on our next turn, we'll be able to go 2 wide with a Deathly Whale and a Widespread Ruin. Hopefully that's enough. They are presenting a pretty scary Double Trouble. All it's threatening is cards in... Well, that's a questionable block. All they're threatening is 2 banish off top, which is not amazing. I think we give the Hunting Rendition here. So we have enough chance, right? Or maybe we're just like forcing them to do something so that we can Haunting Rendition in response or something. I don't know. Haunting Rendition might be a better block here, unless I'm missing something, but I think we have enough chance at the beginning of our turn. So Rising Sun, Setting Moon is interesting. So they get to just Transcend. So maybe they were bluffing on this Double Trouble. They don't have the reactions. Undertow Stilettos does it on its own and buffs it to 4, right? Yeah, I think so. No, it buffs it to 3. So actually, by blocking with the Deathly Whale, we're covering up what we know they have, which is Undertow Stilettos. So maybe they were hoping we would overextend here. Maybe we inadvertently did the right thing. So now Mask of Recurring Nightmares, I think we have to banish this Haunting Rendition. It's the only card that we don't care that much about in our hand. We'll see if they... Justinic. That doesn't turn their thing on, though, does it? Oh, no, they do. This is 2 reactions. So now it goes up to 8, and it's going to banish 2 off top. That's sort of fine. They're going to get go again, so they're going off here as well. Just giving it go again. We're going to take 5 to 5. We have 4 Blood Debt now with another Deathly Whale, so this solidifies that we really just need to go off on our turn. Interesting. So now they're threatening our... What do we have in Arsenal? I can't remember anymore. I completely blanked on what we have in Arsenal. It's not an Envelop in Darkness, is it? No, it is. It's a Shadow Puppet. It's a Shadow card. Is it Shadow? Is it a Besiege the Demagon? I can't remember. So we kind of need that to be able to succumb. What is the play here? Like, we can't really let this hit. So I think we have to give it the succumb. Or do we just give... This is really confusing. Because if we give up Whale Tunic, if we give up Succumb Tunic, we're at 5. We need to be able to go too wide here. So is it just a gamble then? Like, do we just let this hit? And banish Whale, hope they take Arcane so we can succumb and go too wide? I don't know. This is interesting. I honestly don't remember. So we have 1 chant is the issue. We're going to have to break Vexing Quillhand no matter what. What do we have in banish? We have a Whale, 2 ruins, 3 ruins. We have all 3 of our ruins and a Deathly Whale. So what are we going to do here? This is really interesting. We could face Purg. No, face Purg, then I can't remember what we have in Arsenal is the issue. Check what we have in Arsenal, please. Past me. I have that short of a memory, and that's very true. I can't pitch stack to save my life. Also have a hard time concentrating on what my opponent's doing. So we're choosing to, since we're probably not going to be able to go too wide, this makes sense. We're choosing to just give Whale, face Purg, unfortunately. We're giving everything, so we'll just like for some extra assurances. So it is a Codex of Frailty. Would that have mattered? This wouldn't have had go again, but that would have been a good Arsenal target. So I don't know if that was the right choice. I mean, Succumb just represents a banish, right? But we ended up drawing into a Ringgate card, which we banished. Now we have 5 Blood Debt, which is really awkward. So, interesting. And now we can't play this Envelop in Darkness. This is like really not a great situation for us. Yeah. So, why are we here? We're here because we didn't respect the double trouble. But that said, it's insanely hard to play around Justinic. So I don't think there was a world where we would have covered that up. Unless we face purged. But that put us in a weird position where, like, in hindsight, do we even, like, respect the Leave No Witnesses? Because, like, we're trying to protect this Envelop in Darkness, but our Tunic is not online. So, like, now we're going to 1 on this turn. We're going to present 4 and 5, which is, like, when they're at 5, not insignificant. We're also choosing to threaten Rune Chance instead of Life Gain, which is questionable again because, well, we're ending on 1 Rune Chant. I think Deathly Delight would have been a better target here because, like, the Life Gain is arguably more important here because we want to be able to pay the life for Envelop in Darkness. So I was considering undoing. Maybe that's what I was thinking here is like we should have played the Delight. Yeah, which is what I'm pointing at. It's like we should have played the Delight. I'm noticing that now because this we're going to go to 1. I think the Life Gain is more impactful here. They're still bottoming all of their counter blessings, which is interesting. I mean, they're at a higher life total. Well, they weren't. Interesting. So they're going to leave no witnesses. This time this Envelop is really important for us. We have 2... Wait a minute. Yeah, we have to give them Tunic. Why are we giving them Phantom Banshee? I guess because we have enough. We have enough in our Banish Zone. And Eulogy... I think we're just dead. So our only hope, like, here we're going to banish Eloquent Eulogy, whatever. We're going to die anyways. And then we're going to Malefic for the 2 Envelops and then come in with, like, a Delight. Hope they let us gain life, but even if we gain 2 life, we're going to lose 2 life and die. So I think we're just dead. But this is the best we can do with this situation. So we misplayed. We put ourselves in this position. I think we played it fairly well in terms of like building up big damage turns and respecting CYB. They chose pretty early on to just like, well, CYB's not happening. So they just started like pitch stacking them, which is fine. That might be the call. Now that we're at 1, they're never going to resolve a CYB. But we are also just dead to our own shenanigans. So they're just going to soak up as much as possible. So our only hope was, they can draw into no blocks because this widespread rune is coming in for 12. So it's not an insignificant amount of damage. But they can give us Mask, Tunic, and the 3 cards in hand if they're all 3 blocks. They do go to 1, though. So they need specifically 3 blocks, or they need a D-React and Arsenal. So, like, we did force them to have it here. I still think that we're dead. They had a 2-block, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do they have a D-React? It's a close game. They have a D-React, yeah. So they block it out. GG, big time GG. We did make them have it. We had a scary turn there. They had another 3-block in hand as well. So they were definitely not dead. We definitely misplayed on that turn. Again, I don't know. It's really hard with Assassin. It's similar to Warrior where it's like you feel like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Sometimes hard to respect or play around just a Nick. But I do think there was some opportunity to tighten that gameplay up. I think we made a couple of questionable decisions there. So, yeah, I think I walked away from something with something from that review. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well and learned something from that. New is definitely a tough matchup for us. But I think Reaping Blade makes it interesting enough if we navigate it correctly. It can make it awkward for our opponent, and we can catch them out off guard with some awkward stuff, a CYB at the wrong time when they can't get value from it because they're at a higher life total, blah, blah, blah. And then balancing that plus like setup, sort of like a Guardian game plan where we're trying to like present enough on our turn to make it worthwhile. Because then like we want to spend as much time below their life total as possible. So if we are going to bring them down, we want to bring them down pretty far so that, they have to think twice about whether the life gain is worth it. So yeah, I think we did okay, but some opportunity to tighten up that gameplay a little bit more for sure. So anyways, I hope you learned something from that. Thanks again so much for watching as always, and we'll chat soon, okay? Cheers, everybody.